All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another DC Worlds Collide video. I wanted to quickly talk about the team synergy video I made earlier in this week. I got a lot of comments asking about Kid Flash versus Zatanna. And I wanted to make a video about why my rationale was for using Kid Flash over Zatanna. And again, I'm going to say this as always. You can argue with me. I love the fact that people are like, what about this? What about this? Love the conversations. So it's great. So push back. I think it's great. I love it. I mean, if people are engaging and if they're paying enough attention and they want to argue with me, I think that's a win-win. So I love the discourse. I love paying attention to see what people are saying. And I love the fact that people are like not thinking about Zatanna. Like, why would you do that? That's great. I think that's wonderful. Good to push back. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So on the video, I said in the AoE team, this was a team comp I had with Bane and Wonder Woman acting as the main tanks, and then you have these three in the back. Now, why would I put Kid Flash here over other characters? Now, the first thing I want to talk a little bit about is because I'm rating Constantine very highly on this team. And so for me, Constantine is kind of like, he's giving your team strong attack, right? So it is increasing attack power, and I'm sorry, strong attack. He's giving recuperate too. So he's doing this stuff where he's like giving attack, he's giving, healing, but at the cost of sacking off your team's HP, right? Which when you have a team that has very high attack, that can work because recuperate can be a really nice buff, right? Now, when I run Constantine, I usually really like to run Kid Flash with him because your team is going down quickly. Like, you will lose HP very fast. And when you're at higher deficits, it can become very problematic. Remember, you're going to get one shot to get an ult off at higher deficits with this. Like, you get quite a bit, but AoEs can really hurt this team if you don't have the proper sustain. Remember, you're not trying to stay the whole fight, but you are trying to stay long enough that your characters can do enough damage that you are not dead after they ult you one time, and then you're just kind of like stuck, right? Because if that happens, it's not good, which is where, his leader skill, Green Arrow's leader skill really does come in handy, because you can silence the lowest and highest HP characters. That makes this really important in the sense that, like, you can potentially silence key characters that could do lots of damage, and then your team can get off ults a little bit more easily. Now, again, though, they will take damage, and the recuperate buff is good, but the recuperate buff just compensates for the damage you're losing or the HP you're losing, which is where Kid Flash comes into play. For me, I love Kid Flash on this team because he always has, someone to heal. And a lot of times it's either Wonder Woman or Bane because they're the first ones that are going to be getting hit. And so especially with Bane, he's getting more attack, yada, yada, yada. But when you think about this team, and then you have Wonder Woman going first, and so, Kid Flash can really help keep everyone alive and, not topped off, but he can really help keep the team standing up and about, right? Which, now, does Zatanna also work on this team? 100%. I think, I'm going to put this down here. I think I should have actually just gotten rid of these. I don't want people to get confused. So I'm trying to just show this right now. Zatanna, I think, does work well here. Now, I have some issues with this in the sense that the lifesteal can prove to not be enough. It can also prove to be enough. It just really depends. Now, here's my concern. Let me foreground. I'm going to bring these down because that way I don't confuse people. Now, on this comp, you're getting a lot of good buffs. But your team is very susceptible to just getting outright straight up like murked, because you are sacking off 15% of your HP, especially in those first couple turns. Now, granted, does the lifesteal offset it a little bit from Zatanna when she does her frantic and does her buff in the early stages? Yes. Now, here's my issue, though. I have an issue with this. Now, and the crit buff is very, very nice. I'm not arguing against it. It is very nice. Very nice. But the person that ults, so like for instance, I would probably go ulting something like this. I think I like this one a little bit, or you switch this around a little bit. My issue here though is that you're going to get the majority of your lifesteal when they do their ult. This team, so there is a lot of wanting to ult. You got a lot of characters that want to ult on this team. A lot of characters. Granted, Zatana does not want to ult. She's just kind of there to get the buffs. And Kid Flash does kind of want to ult a little bit. So there is issues in that. My fear is it's never enough. And you're kind of just killing yourself slowly. It could, hypothetically, still work though, because Zatana doesn't want to do a lot of healing here. Well, she's just giving the frantic buff. I wish she gave a little bit more lifesteal. I think she was a better sustain pre-nerf. Sometimes when I see some of these comments, and I'm not blaming anybody, she had better lifesteal before global release. Post global release, her healing is not anywhere near what it used to be. In other words, and nor is Constantine's. This team does not sustain well. When you're going up against, a deficit of over 1 million, when you're fighting teams that are legitimately double your power, you will lose health very quickly. Very quickly. And if you cannot get your ultimates off, remember, it does take a while to start building up, getting your ults out, right? And granted, Wonder Woman does do a lot of damage, but that damage does fall off, not fall off. I don't want to say that word. It's not as big as people think it is when you start getting these crazy high deficits. It is a lot. I'm not arguing that. So before people bring out the pitchforks, but I am arguing from a standpoint of a literally double your power deficit. Right? Is this team still good? Oh my God, it's good. Yes. But you got to remember, if your front line is dead, you don't do damage because everybody's dead. It doesn't work. So again, can Zatana work? 100%. She's very good. Amazing on this team because she's giving everybody crit buffs. But remember, this team gets a lot of lifesteal because they're hitting a lot of people. Well, that requires them to do their ult. You got a lot of people that want to do their ult on this team. And it's going to take a minute. And if they're dead by the time they get that ult, it doesn't really matter. See what I'm saying? So this is part of the reason I like Kid Flash. Because Kid Flash has a lot more healing. Now, again, but I will say this with Kid Flash. There is an issue with Kid Flash too. Kid Flash wants to ult. So you got to weigh out. Zatana doesn't want to ult. She's just going to do the frantic buff. She's going to the lifesteal. In that regard, I think she's very good. Now, one thing that might alleviate this team a little bit is taking off Constantine and putting Constantine only way here. And there's other characters that you can use on this team. One character that I was thinking a lot about that may potentially work too. You have a couple options here. I was looking for, where is it? Give me a second while I find the character. Okay. So I found him. It's right here. I think this team works really well too. And so one of the reasons I really like Superman on this team, if you're going to use Zatana, is because of that second life. That's not so much the second life, but it's like cheat death. Because where this team struggles is if you get burst down. Yeah, burst down is very annoying because then it's like, great, my team can't do damage, right? So this team really wants to stun people. And on this team, I'm not trying to get Superman to do his ult. Actually, this is kind of how I operate this team. This team has a lot less need for ulting, which is something I really enjoy about the team. It's your main DPSers can do the ults. So like, I usually really like to go Wonder Woman, Bane, and then Green Arrow. And then it goes Wonder Woman, Bane, Wonder Woman, I think Bane, and then Green Arrow. That's pretty much the order of the way that this team will actually ult. And I think in this comp, Zatana's perfect. Because Constantine isn't killing you in this case. And I think a lot of people are thinking of Constantine and Zatanna from this like pre-global. And again, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I watched footage of them before and they did a lot more healing before. Like these buffs were bigger before. And they moved a lot of what was in Zatanna. So I watched a couple people, and one of the things that they were saying was that they moved a lot of Zatanna's lifesteal to Two-Face and took it away from her. And they were saying she was overtuned, which, I mean, I'm glad that they balanced her out, because then you just have a support that's pretty much good everywhere. But that also means then that you're running into issues of like not enough sustain while killing yourself, right? Well, like while this team is killing itself, which is what I'm very cautious with Constantine, because I actually feel if you're running Constantine, you really, really want to run Kid Flash or some healer, which we don't have a lot of, which is also why I'm a little frustrated that we're not getting any healers for a little bit here. That's why I'm also kind of saving right now. I'm running block and I'm running these other teams, but I really like healing teams too. I really like healing teams. It's kind of like my jammy jam. It's neither here nor there, but moral of the story is we don't have a lot of healing in this game. Kid Flash is our main healer. I'm curious to see what they do moving forward. I'm actually kind of hoping the next legendary after the Peacemaker season is going to be a legendary healer. I think that would be cool. That would actually, just from a standpoint, I think it might not be hype though. So we'll talk. Okay, I'm getting off tangent. Maybe that's why you're here anyways, to listen to me go off on tangents. Who knows? But let's come back. Can she work here? Yes. It just, I get worried. This team, I actually think requires Superman a little bit more than this team. But then you run into the issue of like Bane's very good here. You've got Wonder Woman. There's just so many different ways you can run this. I also really like to run tanks of different colors, because that way if one tank dies to like a blue character, if I'm doing this, for instance, I'll bring this down for a hot minute, like Bane dies to like, he would die to red, then it's like not as bad, but then it's like the reds, you get what I'm trying to say, is like, oh, or a blue character kills Wonder Woman, but now Bane is a green tank, it's going to take less damage, yada yada yada. It makes it a little bit easier in terms of keeping your backline up. But my whole issue is that, again, at higher levels, they got a lot of HP. They got a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on. You can run into issues if you can't get off multiple ults. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Zatanna's bad at all. I think she's great. I just don't, with Constantine, I think they run into an issue of, you're burning your HP down faster than the enemy team is burning your HP down, and you're going to struggle to get that HP back up because you don't have the lifesteal to do it. Now, on like my Mr. T team, I'm getting a boatload of lifesteal, but remember, I also have a ton of defense, and though they're the majority of my team is getting, doing enough damage, because they're also getting a 50% superpower bonus damage. So you got to factor in these things, is that like, there's just worries on my part of, I'm always trying to be very conscientious of people about saying like, oh, invest in this team, because that's, you go down the wrong path on investment and then you're kind of SOL. Because like, I'll be real with you, I try to go a little bit more unorthodox in the way I play. Everyone's like, you do things differently than everybody else. And I'm like, great. But that's also like, it's good and bad, because, I get to see what doesn't work, right? Fail, just first attempt in learning, right? But you got to remember, in this game, you don't want to invest. Like, I will be honest, I pivoted out of Lex Luthor. I could not keep up and keep pushing the story forward at the rate that I needed to running that team. And I don't want people to feel like that. So you can totally tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Please leave feedback, leave comments, say like, yo, no, it works. You just got to do this and this. Please, like, and give me proof, give me evidence. And I look through the feedback, and I'll make another video following up on, like, I think there needs to be another conversation about sustainability in this game and sustain. Because right now, I think, as you push higher and higher deficits, the way sustain works is there's no outright healers in this game besides Kid Flash. And I'm curious to see how they're going to do this moving forward, because we have yet to see how, like, they're operating sustain in a unique way. Like in some, it's leader skills, right? Like Mr. T and Ocean Master, their sustain comes straight through their level 10. Like, well, Mr. T, it's level 7, it's rank 2, and Mr. T, it's rank 3. Sorry, Mr. T is rank 2 and 3 sustain. Ocean Master is rank 3 sustain. What I mean by rank 3 is the leader skill is, or team synergy is rank 3, right? But if I come back to this point, you want to be very careful, because you can have the super strongest team in the world, right? But if they're dead before you can get your ult, like multiple ults off, then it doesn't matter how much damage they're doing, you're dead. That's my point. And I'm arguing from, again, the standpoint of I'm on 31-3, which isn't super far. It's just but I'm also, the second I get my second character to 220, I literally fly through that chapter. Like, if you were watching the stream yesterday, I literally wasn't even paying attention. I had the whole thing on auto, and I was literally just gunning through the stream. That's also because in my teams, I balance out tankiness and damage. There is good sustain on my teams, so they can take a hit. Your tanks need to be able to take a couple hits. They need to. And you're going to be dealing with AoEs too. There's a lot of characters in this game that do AoE damage, right? Well, if, again, your team gets AoE'd out, it doesn't matter. If you have all the damage in the world, they're dead before they can do it. So part of the reason I do love Kid Flash too is he's also giving haste to other characters. And, he's got the philosophers. There's a lot of things he can do. Again, Zatana's amazing. My only fear is when you're running her with Constantine. This is why, again, Constantine I like Constantine with Kid Flash. And then if these three, and then you can interchange Bane and Wonder Woman, right? This is one version of it, or up here you've got this. You really can move them around, but you want to take Constantine out of the running. And if you guys have proof, that's fine. But I've also seen a lot of people say Constantine will kill your team. And does he give recuperate? Yes. But I've also seen so many instances of him just straight out killing my team in a bad way. He does a ton of damage, but he's also killing my team. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to title this video. This is me more just saying, there's no right or wrong answer to this. I know people want black and white. Yes, no, yes, no. There is no yes, no. There is no best or no. There is, do you have, if you're playing and you have the team that can sustain this just fine, then sure, go with it. But just understand, you will be pushing deficits that are double your team's power. Right now, I'm pushing deficits that are double my team's power. And your tanks need to be able to sustain. I will say, though, Superman, I like Superman in these instances because Superman has the cheat death. And that can prove to be very, very useful. You might run something like this, and maybe you put Wonder Woman down here. But I really love Wonder Woman on this team because she's given that crit damage bonus. So this is, again, where then I'm getting into these issues. But then you don't have a support. And then you're just running into who's ulting where, and you don't have supports. And then here it's like, okay, well, I'll move Constantine down, and then I don't even have Kid Flash anymore in there. But you get the whole point of what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do. So if I go back up here, we'll do this. I do really like Constantine, though. Whatever you run with AoE, Green Arrow, I think there's Green Arrow and Wonder Woman need to be put together. I think Zatana is a phenomenal combination on that. And then you got to be careful with Constantine. And the whole point of maybe this whole video is just be careful of Constantine, because you need to compensate for him. But he's also adding so much to your team that I think Kid Flash really pairs well with him. But all right, that's it. This is me just ranting and raving for 20 minutes. But I wanted to keep it as this short and sweet. All right, ladies and gents, it wasn't short and sweet, but besides the point. All right, that's it for this video. I hope, again, just the conversation helps. I want to explain my thinking. And that's it. That's all there is to it. All right. Remember, failing is your first attempt at learning.